Hello everyone. Hola, ¿cómo están todos? Bienvenidos. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. We are going to have a little bit of fun doing a garland today. So this is Lena with especially made for me. This is the one that won the top votes. I just, Spanglish kicked in. Vote. So vote. So based on your votes from last week, the Christmas garland won. We had the most votes for that. So we're going to be working on a garland using Deco mesh, and we're going to be doing everything together from scratch. I kind of started putting some stems on just so that we can save a little bit of time, but you'll get to see how I attach the stems to the wire and all of that. So I'm going to change the view of the camera as we normally do. The list of the supplies you'll need is on the bottom on the description of the video, so do look at that. While we're here, if you will please thumbs up just to show some love. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Definitely share the link with your friends and family at your social media of choice. Let them know about all the fun we have here doing all the crazy and having Spanglish kick in every once in a while. As we might even learn a Spanish word or two. So last time we were here, we learned the word bienvenido or bienvenidos in plural, and that's the word for welcome. So wanted to review because normally we meet on Fridays, and I did a makeup session on Wednesday, so you may not have learned that word yet. So I wanted to make sure I ran that back through again. So again, changing the view of the camera, you should still see me to the corner of your screen, and then have a top view of the table, or bird's eye view if you like to call it that. And I started already. We're using a jute mesh cord. It's wired. You can use either the jute mesh. They do have I got this one at the dollar store. If you don't have a big roll of it, I have a big roll of it somewhere, but we're kind of moving things around here, so I had to go running to the dollar store today to get it. And the longest one they had was 7.5 feet, so that's what we're using versus my usual 9 feet. And we can use, they have the ones that are in different colors, you know, the reds and the lime greens and all that, depending on the theme that you want to use, the color theme you want to use. So with this being Christmas, I thought, hey, and the ribbon I want to use has some of this color, the khaki beige color. So I'm gonna bring that into focus. So we have this snowman. So we're basically gonna be bringing out that color. This is gonna be our main ribbon, and we have, of course, the snowman with it. We have the red scarf with the red trims, and this little pine tree, like a little Christmas tree. I'm gonna bring that in, or bring that up rather, a little bit more so you can see that on the print. And that is why I am using these stems. They're like, they have the same look of pine, and you can get these, a pack of these at the dollar store as well, the Dollar Tree, if you have one in your area. So that's why I'm using these throughout. It comes in a pack of 12. So I'm spreading those out first, and then I'm gonna use regular chenille stems, also in green, in between, just so that we can have enough stems throughout, but still have some of this to match with our ribbon. Okay, so that's going to be our main ribbon. We're also going to be using this ribbon. Now bring that a little bit more over. This is going to be our top ribbon once we're done running everything on the garland. Okay, and this is going to be our mesh. You can see it more here to the side of the screen. It's a 21 inch, and it's got the red with the lime green metallic, and we have some stripes in the white to kind of bring out some of that per se white snowy color that again also matches with our snowman. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So I'm still attaching the stems, and I kind of started a little bit earlier again just to save a little bit of time. So if you're just joining us, again, we're going to be working on a garland with Deco mesh today. And all I'm doing right now is just attaching the stems to get us ready for using our mesh. And I'm using the jute, wire jute cord. And you can, for extra security, use some glue, and because I had to run to the store, I kind of ran out of time, so I did not get my glue gun ready. So I'm just making sure I twist this really nice and tight, just so that it'll stay on for the purpose of the video. And then I might go back and put some glue on there, but I think it'll stay put. So what I'm doing is just to match with the middle, just to make sure everything is evenly spread out, since we're still going to be using some of that other stem. That's why I'm kind of putting the two together and then attaching the other stem, in case you're wondering why I'm doing it kind of crazy. Not crazy really, but a little different. Okay, so we should be pretty even. I'll go ahead and do this other one, and we'll see where we're at before we do the other. The other type of stem. Woohoo! Hi, Miss Monica. So glad you made it. We're doing something different today. Glad you made it. Alright, so again, putting the two together so we can find our middle. That way we can make sure they're evenly spaced. Of course, you could always do the ruler thing if you want. I'm just taking the easy way out. I don't want to have to bring anything else over. And everything's wired, so why not? So we have 3 left. I want to make sure I have them all spaced out like we wanted. And again, the pack comes with only 12 in there, so it's entirely up to you if you want to use all of them. I just want to make sure that they're evenly spaced throughout before we bring in the other chenille stems. So I think we're gonna be good and not need the others, because then they won't be even. Okay. And we might be able to use these on the ribbons, I mean the bows, if we make a bow, depending on our time. So that'll still work. So what I'm going to do in between each of these is use the regular stems. Also in green, because we want to bring out some of that green from our ribbon. Because we're going to be using mostly red. And I'm going to be doing the same thing here, just to make sure we have everything evenly spaced. And just give it a couple of twists. Now if you use the glue, then that will make it, of course, a little bit easier. Won't have to worry about making it too tight. And with everything being wired, you could always move it all back into position, so it's not a biggie. You do need a little bit of space. Can't believe it's almost Christmas. This year's just going by so fast. I know, we're in September, so it's not like almost Christmas, but the way that it keeps going, it almost is. It'll be here before we know it. Okay. Okie dokie. like maybe 3 more and we'll be ready for some mesh. So we're doing a garland for Christmas, but we are making it with Deco mesh and making our own form, if we may. So not building on an existing garland, we're making our own, just because we can. And again, just giving it a couple of tight twists just to make sure it stays put. Getting that little warning in case you see me constantly looking up on to the other side of the screen. So hopefully we won't get disconnected. Alrighty, put these away. Okay, so here comes the trick. Go ahead and silence my phone so we won't get disturbed. Try to make sure it doesn't fall off the table here. So I want to do a tail. So when we want a tail at the bottom or either edge of the garland, instead of starting immediately at the beginning of your mesh, you actually extend the mesh out. And what I'm going to be doing here, let me take the mouse out of the way as well. Sorry about that. We're going to be running the mesh and the ribbon at the same time. Now you could do one first and then the other, entirely up to you. To save time, I'm going to be running both. So I'm just going to gather it just for the sake of being able to grab it. But since this is going to be our tail for the end of our garland, it doesn't necessarily have to be shaped. We just want to make sure we decide how long we want that tail. And I'm going to go with 12. We're probably going to cut a little bit. So once you decide how long you want that to be, whether you're going to do a bow at the end or not, then you can attach it to that first stem. Okay, I'm going to make sure it's nice and tight. And give it a couple of twists. We can shape and cut at the end if we need to, once we're done. And we're going to continue doing that throughout. But since this is going to be strictly a Deco mesh garland, we want to make our poofs pretty big. We're going to be making poofs of at least 10 inches. If the stems will let me. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing. Just gather, measure, and then attach. Pretty simple because we're just using the poof method. We're just running that ribbon along with the mesh. And we want to make sure we open up that poof. Poof, poof. Okay, and then our ribbon ends up being basically at the middle, and then you can start zigzagging it throughout as you need to, just to give it that shape, a little bit of definition. All right. And again, open poofs as you go. And then decide if you want to start moving your ribbons from there. Monica, did you get to see the email with the mesh being put on the website, on the shop? I know you had said you used a lot of mesh, so I wanted to make sure you brought it up in case you didn't see the email. So I didn't see a vote from you this past week, so you may not have missed it. So I know you let me know on the YouTube channel that you didn't get a notification last time, so I was surprised by that. So I want to make sure you're getting the information. Let me know if you didn't get it at all. If you didn't get that either, and I'll see what's going on, because it'll give me an idea where to start looking. I think since then we've gotten already a couple of orders for the border stripe mesh, and I think we're just about out of that one, or at least one of them. Okay. One of the wonderful things about doing the mesh garlands, they really don't take too long. They're fairly easy to make. And you could keep it simple, just like we're doing it now with the ribbon. You could add Christmas balls, or depending on your theme, if you're doing a garland for, you know, fall or Halloween. Makes it easy to add on. So if you want to keep it simple for one year and then add on something new the next year to kind of change it up a bit, you could definitely do that. When we do it with florals, it's a little bit more difficult to add something. Usually all the space is taken. Okay, again, I'm just doing about a 10-inch poof, so it might be 11. It's quite all right. Okay. Coming together. Try to run it back the other way. I had a feeling it was going to start going off of the table. Trying to be difficult. Open, open. Can't remember what we have for next week based on the voting, but I know everything was Christmas, so we'll be doing something else for Christmas next week. Okay, I think I'm going to throw it the other way. There we go. Maybe, let's see, trying to get us some more room here. Hopefully some of the others will join us soon, especially the ones that voted for the Christmas. Of course, they could always watch the replay. I'm kind of liking the way it's looking on the screen without adding anything else. So these stems, now that I'm holding it, let's see, they're about 5 inches apart, 4 to 5 inches apart. Now you could also use, in case you don't find that wire jute cord, you can use that floral wire. You can use hangers even. I've seen some using hangers and just opening them up. So you could definitely do that. I just wanted to, they had those other colors with the reds and the lime greens and such, but I wanted to kind of match that main ribbon a little bit more, since I had to run to the store anyway because I couldn't find my other jute. Have stuff packed up ready for the vendor show tomorrow. And then I needed some stuff for tonight. So it's been fun. Aww. Well, I'm glad you got it. I was just concerned that there may have been a glitch since you didn't get the notification for the YouTube. So I thought, uh-oh, I may have something going on. I may need to check or contact the marketing folks for that, the marketing part of the website, or if it was something with the YouTube. I just wasn't sure, so I wanted to make sure there weren't any glitches. So I'm glad you got it. I'll probably do the voting again closer to the end of the month to give everybody a chance to vote on different things. So be thinking if there's something you want to see. Oh, you did? Good. So I wonder what it was. If you got the one for today. Huh. Because I literally, since I was running behind with going to the store, I literally had just done the setup. And it normally sends the setup, I think it's an hour and then 30 minutes beforehand. But I literally just finished doing that like 15 minutes before we were supposed to start. Okay, let's see. I want it to fall over. Trying to get it cut on something so that it won't fall. That warning sign. I don't know what that's about. We're just gonna keep going. Okay, so we're at the other end, and we do want the tails, and we measured, I think it was 12 inches on the other end, so we're gonna do the same thing on this end. And we're going to cut. And then we'll do whatever shaping we want to do. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and shape our ribbon. Just going to do the dovetail. To tie the mesh, I used the jute. Let's see, let me turn it over. It's a jute cord, wired jute cord. See if you can actually see it if I hold it this way. It's a wired cord, and they have the floral wire in different colors that's just the same thickness. You can use that as well, but I use the jute cord instead that's wired, so that way we can still shape it when we put it around the doorway or wherever we decide to hang it. Don't fall. Okay, so then for shaping up the mesh for our tail, a couple of things we can do. Of course, we can make sure we have a straight edge. I like curling it. And you don't even have to cut it when you do that. So that could be our end. And then we can still do a bow at the end. So let me shape the other one. And we can get to our other ribbon. I got it cut on here really good so it wouldn't fall. Okay, here we go. So we're going to dovetail our ribbon. I love Christmas. Does it show? It's like, oh, Christmas, Christmas. Okay, so then all I do is just curl it in and wrap the other around. Of course, you could also cut it and give it a shape with the scissors. But I find doing the natural works pretty well. So, because then it's going to be hanging. So we'll be good. Alrighty, so let's see if I can do this so we can still see it on the camera. While we're working. Okay, so we're going to be adding this other ribbon. So it's got all of our Christmas colors, and instead of stripes we got some polka dots, and then we have the slanted stripes since these are straight, but all the different colors. And what we're going to do is cut streamers. Basically just cutting ribbons like we would on when we do our wreaths or our swags. And I'm going to go with our usual standard 12-inch. And let me actually make sure. So I think we might need to do 14. No, I think that'll work perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go with 12. Just have to make sure because our poos are 10-inch, so. And then in between, so I think I'll need okay. I counted the stems that have the pine to match our ribbon, but I didn't count the regular chenille stems. So I'm just guessing, which will be just fine. Nothing goes to waste here. Alrighty, so I'm going to also dovetail these, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, we're just gonna fold in half, making sure our little corners are together as much as possible. And cut diagonally towards those corners, and that gives us our dovetails. Just in case we may have someone joining us that hasn't done that before. So we're going to do that again. Folding in half, and we're cutting diagonally towards the corner. Alrighty, so now what we're going to do is on all of them with the exception of our end, because this is where we want to attach a quick bow, we're going to be attaching just one streamer at each stem. And we're just going to look for our middle. do our scrunching and our shaping. Okay, a little birdie. And we're going to attach. Now to this, I mentioned earlier about if we want to change it up or if we want to just go full out, depends on you. You can go ahead and attach some Christmas balls or any other kind of embellishments right in the middle where the stem is at. And these can be cut. Once you know you're not going to attach anything else, if you're not going to need the stems, you could go ahead and cut that. You could also add those vase fillers to match. You can curl these, you can give them shape. Leave them on if you're unsure, if you think you may want to use them later to add more to it. Lots of options. We're gonna do the simple one and just attach some bows, quick bows. And I'll try and see if we can put it on, maybe we can put it on the outside door. And take a picture and kind of change the thumbnail on the YouTube or share it on Facebook or something so you'll be able to see how it looks on. And all I'm doing right now is just curling the chenille stems to kind of keep some of that green in there. Let me see if I can bring that up more into, so you can see. I'll just keep turning it so we can keep seeing different angles of it. And again, you could pretty much use any type of wire. I wouldn't go with a very thin wire to do the mesh garlands. You use the jute one. They have a thick floral wire at the dollar store, and you could even match it with the color because they have different colors there. Just check on the length of it because they don't have anything too long. Like normally the garlands I make are about 9 feet. And this jute mesh that they had was only 7.5 feet. So depending on how long you want your garland to be, you might want to keep that in mind. I try not to combine two different wires or a piece of another wire together with it to give it the length, because then you have something else to think about, that it might come apart. So you may have to really think on how to put them together, because even if you twist them together, if it's pulled, it may come apart, or you may have to use some more glue or some other things to make sure that it stays together. So I try and avoid that because that's just one less thing to think about. We want to keep things simple as possible. And we don't want things to fall apart either. It happens. I mean, things are breakable and all of that, but we gotta do our best to prevent it. And these you could twist one way or the other, or you can leave them the long way like I am, or you can kind of switch them up. Do one from one angle to one angle, like diagonal, and then do the other one the other way. And just twisting the zip ties, keeping some of that green. This way. This one is 7.5 feet versus my usual 9. And that is just counting the measurement of the jute mesh. That's why I wanted to have the longer tails, because I added the 12 inches at each end. So that makes it longer. So that still gives us that 9+ measurement. I don't know what it is. I just prefer the 9. Okay. Let's see if we can move this around again so I can get to this other side. Aww, good. I'm glad you think so. That's what I wanted. I wanted to make sure it was good prices. The shipping these days, they just keep charging so much. All of the companies are raising their prices on shipping. And I thought, well, can't have that now. I'm just alternating the position of the ribbon, but again you could go straight sideways or do some sideways and do some diagonal. It just adds definition to your garland. So don't think you have to stay with just one way of putting them on there. I am feeling the heat. It was nice and cool this morning. But now it feels hot. Looks like we have 2 more and then we can work on our bows. And we'll do the quick easy bow, as I like to call it. Because it's not going to need much. Again, I'm just curling these and tucking them in. There we go. Just the one more. Just the one. Okay, so now we just have our ends, the last one that we left where we have our tail, and that's where we're going to be attaching the bow, or bows, one on each side. So I'm gonna make sure that you can see these. Alrighty, now I have to figure out another way where you can see it a little bit better. It's just so long. Okay, so I mentioned quick bow. So there's our other end. Try to push it a little bit over so we can do the bow. Okay, here we go. So, can you go with, let's see, I think I want to do 24. Let me see. 24 inches. Would that work? No. I have to go with 30. I want to have a little bit of tails. Let's see. And all I'm doing is, before I cut it, just kind of looking at where it might be, because for a quick bow, that'll probably work. I'm gonna do 30 inches. Since we're making two. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and dovetail it. And I may have to move this over so you can actually see what I'm doing with the bow. What if... Okay, let's see. Let's do it this way. The garland wants to take over. Okay. Maybe a little bit better. Okay. That's our quick bow. So let me do that again. Sorry. Okay, so all I'm doing is making sure I have my ends. And I'm just putting one on top of the other, making sure they're both facing the same way. And then you're just going to bring where your middle is, where everything is up here, just bring it on down. Decide how long you want your tails to be. So in this case, what did I decide? 5 inches, 6 inches. And then you're gonna bring that part in to meet where you have your measurement at, where you measured your inches for your tails. And bring that in. And then you're just gonna gather. And there's your bow. That's why I call it the quick easy bow. Quick easy bow. And since we're gonna be using these to attach it, we don't necessarily have to let's see, it might be easier if I use a, you can use the stem or just attach it straight onto the garland, but I'm kind of struggling here. Don't want to lose it again. And we're just going to secure it. And I'm going to actually twist and move the bow out of the way, because I want to make sure I have some of this pine look for the bow. And I'm just going to cut the excess on these. And just tuck it in. And then we can shape our bow. And since we left greenery on the streamers, we want to do the same thing with these. So just a quick little bow to go along with our tail. Now you can make the tail longer, entirely up to you. It's just to add a little more oomph to that bottom, because this is what's going to be hanging on the side of the door or your fireplace or wherever it may be. Have some cord sticking out. All right, so let's do the other. I'll go ahead and get the stem. Oops, I haven't dovetailed this one. So let's do the dovetail. Okay, so we're just gonna twist to put one on top of the other. Decide how long we want our tails to be. I think we said about 6, 7, 5, 6. So it'll be the same as the other. Going to gather or pinch, or just keep your thumb on there, and then just bring it, kind of pull it out to know where that middle is. Bring it right on to where your thumb is at, where you're gathering it, and that is where you're going to put on your zip tie or your chenille stem or whatever you're going to be using to secure it. And since it's a wired ribbon, you don't have to worry about it because you could be able to shape it. I haven't yet. I do take them with me, but I haven't actually. They are admired, but I have not sold a one at a vendor show yet. I've sold just by folks I know that like them and buy them, but not at an actual vendor show. We'll see. Maybe this one will be the one where there's a change. All right, and there's that cute little bow, our quick, easy bow. So let me see if I can hold it this way. There we go. Try and see if I'm bringing this into focus here. Okay, I'm gonna twist it here in the middle just so that we can see. And I'll hold it so we can, I'm gonna hold it up so we can kind of see it with the top view camera. There we go. I think that might look a little bit better. Let me know if you might need me to hold it a little bit differently so we can see it. But I will definitely take a picture of it up, maybe on our front door or something, so we can actually see the full thing and post that. Maybe that way might be a little bit better. There we go. Kinda, sorta. I'll just hold it. I want it to fall off. Okay. So I'm gonna change the camera view. That might be better. And I can hold it. So you could actually see it. You can kind of see it on there, but not fully. But I mentioned the jute mesh is 7.5, not the jute mesh, the jute cord that I use, the wired one, is 7.5 feet long. So if you want your garland to be bigger or longer rather than the wire that you have, doing the tails like we did, and I measured the 12 inches, you can measure even longer if you want, would add on to your garland. So you can make it a little bit longer. I might. I was thinking of adding some Christmas balls to it, but I'm undecided. But this is one quick, easy way to make a garland if you need to make a quick garland to dress something up, because it doesn't really take long. Just putting the mesh on there. I think what takes the longest is once you start adding the streamers. But let's see, I'll put it over. There we go. You can kind of see almost all of it. But this is basically it. This is the simple garland with the quick, easy bow. So if you have just a little bit of supplies and you want to make something quick and easy to dress up an area, whether you want to use it as a over the door or patio door or your fireplace, this is definitely a good way to go. And then you could add other embellishments to it, whether it's the Christmas balls or some peppermints and different things to it, depending on what embellishments you may have. But you don't have to. Alrighty, any questions on anything else? Let me make sure I show the little quick bow as well. Kind of cute. And you could actually make these even without using the any wiring on the bottom. Just gotta use the chenille stems and not even use the wire, whether you use the wired jute mesh or floral wire, because it'll keep its shape. The mesh will keep its shape. And then if you're using the ribbon in the middle like I did, that's also wired, so that'll help keep it together. So that's another option as well. If you don't have a wire to kind of put stems on it, you could also just do the poofs and do the stems right on hand, right onto the mesh itself without having the wire as a background for support. Works either way. We've got options. Alrighty. Well, glad you were able to join me, Miss Monica. We'll see about doing the next Christmas project. And if I add anything else to this, I'll go ahead and take multiple pictures before and after. But I'm thinking this one will stay as is. We'll see. Unless I take out the Christmas balls like I mentioned. But until next time, everyone, keep creating, keep smiling, stay safe, stay liquid. And we'll see you next time, Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be safe. Bye-bye.